We're in a new month, which means a new wave of questions I need to answer. Our first Patreon question comes from Eli, who would like to know, since you're neutral towards Disney's The Black Cauldron, is it possible if you could make a video discussing your thoughts on the film and explain why it's not as bad as is often seen to be? So, The Black Cauldron is considered the black sheep among Disney's animated features, due to being an infamous box office flop in 1985. You have those who love it, those who hate it, and then there are people like me who just find it mediocre. What are my problems with the film? Well, for starters, despite being set in a medieval fantasy world, nothing about Pryden feels unique. It's just a generic kingdom with little sense of history or proper world building. Even the various creatures that inhabit the land, such as fairies and a trio of witches, don't strike me as particularly inspired. This extends to the heroes in The Black Cauldron. Taran and Princess Eloise don't make for compelling leads, Gurgi is annoying, and you have to try really hard to make me not care about a pig. But this movie does just that. I also find the pacing to be rather off, as this is a slow-paced film, and I'm left bored by most of it. I do find the villain, the Horned King, to have an excellent design, and you can't go wrong with John Hurt providing his voice. But like everything else in The Black Cauldron, he's derivative of other fantasy stories. The most interesting aspect of the Horned King is his plan to use the cauldron to raise the dead. When he succeeds in that goal, it's exciting and is an admittedly impressive sequence. Let's see what this army of zombie skeletons is capable of. And they're defeated. Yeah, just like that. Now, there is a behind-the-scenes reason, and a lot of what happened during the making of The Black Cauldron had an effect on the final product. The Black Cauldron was made while the studio was shifting from the old guard to a new generation of animators, and a new regime of higher-ups, specifically Frank Wells, Michael Eisner, and Jeffrey Katzenberg, were coming in. A lot of the younger Disney animators having a hard time getting their ideas heard. These really neat designs Tim Burton had drawn for the film, they were discarded. John Musker was going to co-direct The Black Cauldron, but grew so frustrated his contributions weren't being taken seriously that he left the project and went on to direct The Great Mouse Detective instead. And the reason the aforementioned skeleton army was given so little screen time in the finished film was because Katzenberg came in and snipped out most of their scenes due to test screening reactions. The Black Cauldron was one of a number of attempts Disney tried to grab the attention of audiences flocking to the newest Star Wars movie. But they just did not listen to the new crop of animators who were heavily influenced by Star Wars and wanted to bring that same fast-paced energy to the animated films they were making. Now, as I said before, I don't think The Black Cauldron is a bad film, just middle of the road. The animation is still top-quality Disney, and there are a number of impressive-looking sequences in this. This was also notably the first film Andreas Deja worked on, and renowned animators like Glenn Keane, Randy Cartwright, Mark Henn, Chris Buck, and John Lasseter also worked on the animation for The Black Cauldron. And the film has its place in Disney history as their first animated film to use computer-generated effects. It is a handsomely mounted production. Really, its biggest faults are how generic it is and the pacing. I don't consider this to be the worst Disney animated feature. That would be Chicken Little, and I certainly don't think it deserves the shoddy treatment Disney has given it over the years. After it was released in 1985, the studio kept it in its vault until they finally unleashed it on video in 1998. I remember seeing the promos for the VHS release on television and thinking it was a new animated film, as I had never heard of it, and I was quite the Disney-obsessed child. Even now, it remains one of the few Disney animated features not granted a Blu-ray release, despite there certainly being demand for one. Seriously, Disney thinks Pocahontas 2 warrants a Blu-ray before one of their theatrical animated features? I know The Black Cauldron is seen by the studio as a sore spot in Disney Animation's history, but it's still a part of their history.